All right, everybody, what's up? Jared Larson and Dr. Greg Guymon, Enlighten the World Tour 2020. Greg, how you doing, brother?
Dude, just living the dream, driving home from Tamarack, so can't complain.
Driving home from Tamarack, post driving home from riding me on the first leg of this tour, huh?
There you go. And then I had a sweet ride up the summit today, so it was good. It's great.
Awesome. Well, guys, I just want to give you a quick update. Greg is no doubt my best friend and somebody who has, I don't know if you've ever had that friend, but somebody who is always there for you, and constantly an advocate for you, always in your corner. He's literally changed my life in many ways, but had an opportunity to ask him if he would lead me out in the first leg of the Enlighten the World Tour from Boise, Idaho to Weiser. And Greg, talk to me about what did that feel like? What were the thoughts? What were the feelings when cowbells are going off and we're starting this leg, like the first pedal stroke?
I think just a lot of excitement, mostly just for you for having put this out there a lot of years ago, saying, I'm going to do something like this, and then actually making it happen. It's not very often where you get to see somebody live out a dream or a bucket list. And second of all, it's really cool to be a part of that bucket list. And, a ride like this is very similar on my bucket list. So one of these days I will make it happen, but it's not the time of the season for me, but I don't know. It's kind of exciting, right?
Yeah. Yeah, well, Greg's been really inspirational for me through this ride. And as everybody knows, we're sharing light, right? And we're helping people write their story. And Greg is somebody who has shaped my story. He's helped contribute significantly to shaping my story. And so today's all about you, Greg. And I want to hear, tell people that are listening what your story is and really just humanize your story. Yes, you're a doctor, but you're a husband and you're a father and all these other things. And so tell me your story.
Well, in preparation a little bit for this, Allie and I have been talking, my wife, and I don't have a groundbreaking singular event that created what I think is where I headed. But I had a lot of small events and then a few momentous decisions. And I think for me, my story has been shaped by a little bit of luck, or I would call it the grace of God, a little bit of good decision making, and then just the evolution of what's happened. And so for me, I have a couple of superpowers. I can't fly. I don't have X-ray vision or anything like that. But a couple of my superpowers are the fact that I am incredibly disciplined. I have a lot of grit and determination. And then I'm very driven, goal-oriented achiever kind of thing. And so with those superpowers, it has allowed me to make decisions very much in advance. And no matter what those decisions were, I would achieve them. And that has worked to my benefit in majority of cases, but sometimes to my detriment, because I tend to just plow right through things that maybe I shouldn't have plowed right through in order to achieve the goal. So that's a big part of who I am and how I've achieved what I've achieved is just, I do have a couple of superpowers, and I don't take all the credit for those superpowers, but I do recognize them, acknowledge them, and I'm grateful for them. So that's a big part of where I'm at and why I'm where I am and who I am. There are a few momentous decisions though that have hit me in life. Obviously the biggest and important one for me was who I chose as my spouse. And I happened to meet my wife when I was 15 years old. And I don't know what you'd call it, but I knew almost immediately that if that was the person to marry, it was at least the kind of person that I needed to marry, I needed in my life. I knew that really early on, which is kind of stupid. It sounds kind of silly, especially at a young age. But anyway, that decision has probably helped me avoid a lot of other poor decisions along the way. And so that's one of my big shaping pieces. Another shaping piece was the decision to serve a mission for my church. And, regardless of what your belief system is, if you donate 2 years of your life to focus on something other than yourself and your needs, focus on a higher cause and focus on the needs of others, that's going to change you. And that piece was very instrumental, especially considering I was a little selfish, snot-nosed kid that had anything he wanted kind of growing up. I think that was a very humbling situation to be in a foreign country on my own and, focused on something other than myself. And so that was a big shaping moment in my life.
Yeah.
And so those two pieces are two of the greatest shapers of who I am.
So Greg, let's go back. So you talk about these superpowers, and I want to get real because I know we got a lot of people listening that are saying, okay, so homeboy got these superpowers, right? Like he's blessed with superpowers. I don't have those superpowers. But were you born with those superpowers, or were those something that you learned into, or that you created habits around?
Yes. So I think, first of all, I'm going to call BS on the fact that you say that they don't have superpowers. Everybody has superpowers, right? And some people may never discover them. So from that standpoint, I do believe we all are born with some crazy strengths. And I think one of the reasons we're here on this earth is to find out what those strengths are and then use them to bless and serve those around us, our families, and to grow that through them. I'm a big fan of discovering your strengths and then leaning into them rather than focus on your weaknesses all the time and always be working on those. I have more than my share of weaknesses, and some of my weaknesses go along with my strengths, right? But these aren't just superpowers that I wake up each day and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to work out every single day because I love doing it and I love pain and suffering. It is certainly, there's still a discipline involved in it. There's a habit that's involved in it, and then just grit and determination for sure. So I have to take some credit for, these aren't just these things that I wake up with every day and I have them and they're automatic. I've definitely leaned into them. I've been a goal setter from the time I was 8 years old. I look back in my journal, Jared, and I wrote down that I was going to be a dentist, and that was a dream that I always had, and went on to then later specialize. But from 8 years old, I was setting goals. I was setting goals for what I was going to do in my high school career or my football path, back when I was 12. So, this has been part of my life. I guess it's I don't want to say it's ingrained in me, but my father definitely was definitely an influence there. He incentivized me and encouraged me, and so my parents always backed me, which obviously makes that easier. But again, it's back to just, I set a goal and I just do it. I wouldn't let things get in my way and just pound through it.
Yeah. So I love this. This is great because I love interviewing successful people because I truly believe that success leaves clues. And what I'm hearing here is a large component of it is setting a goal, having some sort of end goal in mind or some clarity or direction. And then you're establishing some sort of metrics or benchmarks around that, or healthy habits. And sometimes they're unhealthy, I know, to try and drive you to get there. And here's the thing is like, I don't think people like, let's just banter. Like, I don't think people even spend time writing goals down. I have that belief. I think more people spend time planning a vacation than they do planning their life.
Oh, absolutely. And they say that a goal unwritten is nothing more than a dream and a fantasy, and I have definitely found that to be true. Uh, I don't hit I don't write down every single goal, and the ones that I don't write down, they don't happen. They don't happen accidentally, or they don't happen because I have a superpower of grit. If I don't put something down on paper saying this is what I want to do, this is how I plan, and have it plan. If you don't have benchmarks, and if you don't have some metrics to go to it, and some how do I know if I'm on track and off track, yeah, it's just not going to happen, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, those things don't happen accidentally.
So Greg, I'm watching now. I'm just playing devil's advocate. So I got Greg. He's riding in the car. He's Mr. Goal Setter, superpower guy. Dude, what have you failed at? Like, tell me about the adversity in these goals that you don't match or meet, or something that's been really frustrating to you. Because, like, I know I've seen you fail before, right? Only because of the close relationship. But tell me about that and what you did to get back on the horse.
So yeah, dude, some of this is so you want to get real? I'll get a little real here. One of my metrics was unfortunately financial related, and I always had these magic numbers of what I knew would be the magic retirement number, and if you hit that number, you were independently wealthy, and that was much more important to me than it should have been earlier on when I was younger. And I got to live through the subprime mortgage crisis. And during that time, prior to that, my practice was soaring. I mean, it was just unbelievable how you could just back up a dump truck and I could load money into it each day. Everything was going great. And I thought, man, I got all green lights. World's good. I started investing in all kinds of things that I had no clue of what I was doing. Didn't understand the risks, but easy money. You just say, sure, you can't lose. I kept rolling snake eyes and winning. And so I just said, well, let's put more into that. And when the subprime mortgage crisis hit, I had the opportunity to watch my practice shrink by 40%.
40%.
40%. And just to give another piece that makes this even more real is at that same time, I was involved in a couple of very stupid investments and trusted some people that I shouldn't have with my money. And I watched $2 million upwards above that disappear, evaporate, poof.
Overnight.
So oh yeah. And so not only did I not have the ability to replenish the coffers, but I also was in a situation where I was holding the bag on a couple of investments where my partners all, went belly up. And so I'm having to make payments on something that I was planning on being a 25% partner in. And so it was a scary, scary time for me. And I will tell you that 12 years later, 13 years later, my practice is bigger and better than it was back then. I have an great appreciation for what it takes to be where I'm at now. Whereas back then it was just so easy. I thought it was just stupid. Now I've put some hustle and grit and grind into it. I have a great appreciation for what it took to get back to this spot. And I'm just so proud, and I just feel great going back to work. I'm less focused on the dollar. And come back to really pay off down the stretch, and I'm in a way better spot than I was back then. And so I've learned some lessons, and some really hard ones and some painful ones. And I've also learned that those magic numbers and having a massive retirement account in your face or something like that. That's not what brings us happiness, man. That's not where the joy is. And so I've refocused, and in refocusing, I've found that, you know, all that stuff came back to me, and maybe more so, and, well, for sure more so, but yet it's become less of the all important thing in my life.
Yeah.
So that's yeah, that's a big failure. That's an expensive. I learned some expensive lessons.
Yeah. And you jump back on the horse, you rebuilt it, you
Absolutely,
reestablished
absolutely.
that. And rather than being paralyzed and depressed and not doing that. So give our viewers the best piece of advice you can have for saying overcome, persevere, even in the face of that adversity.
You know, mojo is, that's a word I use a lot. When you lose your mojo, and I lost it for a little while, I'm not going to say that I got right back on the horse and said I'm going to go after it. I was going to work feeling like a loser, like I was losing and I was not good at what I did. And man, everything you do reflects that. You know, when I would present a case of somebody needing braces, I'd finish and it was kind of wishy-washy, you know, well, maybe you could do this, or maybe you could do that, or, you know, there's a couple different things you could do. And, you know, you might want to get a second opinion too. I mean, it was just stupid when you think about it, but it all came from a place of mojo. And you know, you just, I think there's things that you can do to get your mojo back. I don't have any magic secrets, but I think it's really important to go through life with a little bit of mojo and with a little bit of moxie and saying, I can do this. I'm the best solution to this problem. And I'm going to present myself that way. And so you got it. You got to keep driving, man. What's the alternative is just misery.
Yeah, it's hard to be broke and it's hard to be successful. I mean, it really is.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
Greg, I do want to be conscious of your time. I want to just do a basic summary, guys, here of what Greg's talked about today. Number one, he's talking about the importance of setting goals and having direction and clarity in your life, the importance of identifying your superpowers and leaning on those and not your weaknesses, and having those help drive you through success. And then he talks about failures and that they're very real. And we have to have some moxie, some mojo, and some perseverance to get back through. It doesn't happen overnight, but, you know, as you continue to move forward, you can develop disciplines and habits that Greg's done to be successful. And I know that those successful tips leave clues, and I hope that all of us can really focus on that. So Greg, in closing, I want you to have the last word. What do you need to share with people? What light can you share that's profound?
You know, we're all gonna hit dark times. We're all going to hit times where, you know, I like Mike Tyson's quote that everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face. And we're all going to get punched in the face at some point. And, again, like I said, the alternatives are rough, and so what do? I think you surround yourself with people that are like-minded, that share your values and belief systems. I love the quote that says that you're kind of you're the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And if you find yourself down in the dumps and you surround yourself with a bunch of depressed people that just want to hear your sob story and, you know, commiserate with you, you're going to stay there for a long time. But I really believe, Jared, that I'm one of those glass half full people, and that at some point, if you just stay on that horse, life's going to get better. And you keep pushing, you're going to get through the other side. But sometimes the only way out is through, right? And you gotta go through it. And there's going to be pain points. You know, I think people can look at my life and be like, dude, that guy always had it easy. He always had it easy. Um, but I don't know too many people they've lost what I've lost, and then come back where I'm at. But I didn't show that on the outside because sometimes, man, you fake it till you make it, you know. And I didn't do that every single day, Jared. But for the most part, I was able to just keep grinding, and always think that there's something brighter ahead. And so that's my last piece, is that, you know, no matter what you're going through, it's this too shall pass, right? You're gonna get over that. It's gonna end. No matter how bad the situation is, it's gonna end. You're gonna see there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Well, Greg, thank you so much, guys. I just want to leave you with this thought. And Greg says, you are the sum of whom you surround yourself with. And Greg has been one of those people for me. He was there with me the day that I wrecked my bike. And that was my paramount moment that changed my life. But also that Greg was there with me as I took the first pedal stroke out of the park to start this. And he's continued to show up for me. And he is that superpower in my life. And I'm so grateful for that. Greg, your light is bigger than life itself. And I am so grateful for that. Guys, I want to thank everybody that is following this. I want you to like and share this. Greg Guymon, you're an incredible guy. I'm so stoked for this first interview. I'm so stoked that you led me out and I was able to share the ride with you to Weezer, because you're not only changing people's lives with their smiles, you're changing people's lives with your light. Thank you, brother.
I love you, man. I love you. Super proud of you, man. I love that you're doing this.
Gregor, I think we're breaking up a little bit, but I love it because we're just transparent, vulnerable. I'm in an RV, you're driving your car, and I love you too, brother. We'll talk to you soon.